In the quiet stone halls of the United States Military Academy at West Point, history seems to echo in every footstep. For more than 2 centuries, this legendary institution has trained the military leaders of the United States, men and women entrusted with the defense of a nation. Yet among those footsteps today walks someone whose journey began thousands of miles away, in a country once torn apart by war. She arrived in America as the daughter of refugees who had nothing but hope. She barely spoke English. Her parents worked endless hours just to survive. And yet, decades later, that same young girl would become the first Vietnamese-American woman to serve as chief of staff at West Point, a family that started again from nothing. Long before Colonel Con Diep ever wore a military uniform, her story began with a family that had already lost almost everything. Con Diep was born in Saigon in 1976, in a Vietnam still deeply scarred by war. Her father had once served as an officer in the General Staff of the Army of the Republic of Vietnam. But after the fall of Saigon in 1975, his life changed overnight. Like many officers of the former South Vietnamese military, he was sent to a re-education camp, where he spent 5 difficult years. When he finally returned home, freedom was still uncertain. Opportunities were limited, and the future for his family remained unclear. Determined to build a safer life for his children, he made the difficult decision to escape Vietnam. It was not easy. Several attempts failed. Each attempt carried enormous risks, the danger of being caught, the fear of losing everything again. But eventually, after years of uncertainty, the family managed to flee successfully. Their journey led them first to Malaysia and later to the Philippines, where thousands of Vietnamese refugees were waiting for a chance to begin new lives somewhere else. For many refugee families, the waiting could last years, but fortune eventually smiled on the Diep family. A church group in Arizona agreed to sponsor them to come to the United States. For young Diep, the memories of those early days in America would remain vivid for the rest of her life. She remembered the kindness of the American couple who sponsored their family of 5, strangers who opened their hearts and helped them start over. But arriving in America did not mean the struggles were over. In fact, the hardest challenges were just beginning. Language was the first barrier. Her parents spoke only a few words of English, learned during the war years in Vietnam. Diep and her siblings spoke none at all. School became a confusing and sometimes lonely place. In kindergarten and first grade, she often sat quietly in class, unable to understand what the teacher was saying or what the other children were doing. Years later, she would recall that feeling with honesty. "The hardest part for me in school was English," she once said. "I remember sitting in class and not understanding anything people were saying. Because of the language barrier, even simple classroom instructions felt impossible. Teachers would speak, and she would watch other children for clues about what to do next. To help her adjust, she spent several years taking ESL, English as a Second Language, classes. Little by little, the unfamiliar sounds began to make sense. And then one day, something changed. Suddenly, she could understand. That moment felt like a door opening to a new world. From that day forward, school became easier, and her confidence began to grow. Meanwhile, her parents were working tirelessly to support the family. With limited English and few resources, they could only find small jobs: sewing work, janitorial work, anything that allowed them to earn enough to survive. Both of them often held 2 jobs at a time, working long hours every day. Not for themselves, but for their children. Eventually, through determination and sacrifice, Diep's father managed to continue his education. He earned a degree in electrical engineering and later found work as an electrician. The family moved several times in search of better opportunities, from Arizona to Pearland, Texas, and eventually to Sugar Land. Each move represented another step toward stability. Slowly, life began to feel less uncertain. But none of them could have imagined that the quiet little girl who once struggled to understand English would someday walk the halls of one of the most prestigious military academies in the world. The unexpected road to West Point. Con Diep did not grow up dreaming of a military career. In fact, her journey to West Point began almost by accident. By the time she reached high school in Texas, she was a hard-working student, but she still had no clear idea what she wanted to study in college. Like many teenagers, she was searching for direction. Her older siblings offered a simple piece of advice. If she wanted a better chance of getting into a good university, she should participate in a sport. So she chose tennis. At first, it was simply an activity to strengthen her college applications. But something unexpected happened. She turned out to be very good. Through practice and determination, she quickly improved. Soon she was competing at a high level and eventually ranked among the top tennis players in the state of Texas. Her talent began attracting attention. Universities started reaching out, hoping she would join their tennis programs. One of those schools was the United States Military Academy at West Point. West Point is not just another college. It is one of the most prestigious military academies in the world, responsible for training generations of U.S. Army officers and national leaders. Being accepted there is considered an extraordinary honor. For Deep, however, the decision came down to something surprisingly simple. She wanted to go somewhere far from home. New York certainly qualified, so she accepted the offer. Only later did she fully realize that joining West Point meant committing to a future in the United States Army. Her family had mixed emotions. They were proud of her achievements, but worried about their youngest daughter moving so far away and entering such a demanding environment. Still, they supported her completely. West Point quickly proved to be one of the most challenging experiences of her life. The academy is famous for its intense discipline, rigorous academics, and demanding physical training. Cadets are expected to develop leadership skills, mental toughness, and a deep commitment to service. For someone who had once struggled with language and confidence, the pressure could have been overwhelming. But Con Diep had already learned something important from watching her parents. Hard work could overcome almost anything. She studied relentlessly, trained hard, and slowly built her place within the academy. In 1999, she graduated from West Point with a bachelor's degree in French. More importantly, she had discovered something unexpected. She had discovered purpose. Serving in the military was not simply a career. For her, it was a way to give back. Her family had arrived in America as refugees with almost nothing. This country had given them safety, opportunity, and a future. Joining the Army felt like a small way to repay that gift, and so her journey as an officer began. From refugee daughter to Army colonel. After graduating from West Point, Con Diep began building a career defined by discipline, leadership, and service. Her first assignment was at Fort Stewart, Georgia, where she served as an assistant operations support officer. Later, she attended the Quartermaster Officer Basic Course before returning to Fort Hood, Texas, to work as a logistics officer for the 3rd Corps Support Command. Her responsibilities continued to grow. Eventually, she was promoted to company commander of the headquarters company of the 502nd Support Battalion, a role requiring both leadership and operational expertise, but she never stopped learning. Throughout her military career, Diep pursued multiple graduate degrees while continuing to serve. She earned a master's degree in human resource management from Webster University, another master's in kinesiology from Texas A&M University, and later a master's degree in national security from the Dwight D. Eisenhower School for National Security and Resource Strategy. Her dedication to education matched her commitment to leadership. Over the years, she held several key roles across the Army. After being promoted to major, she served as the personnel officer for the 1st Brigade of the 3rd Armored Corps at Fort Cavazos in Texas. Later, as a lieutenant colonel, she became the personnel officer for the 4th Infantry Division at Fort Carson, Colorado. She also returned to West Point, not as a student this time, but as an instructor in the Department of Physical Education and later as Deputy G1. Her career eventually extended beyond the Army itself. She worked with the Department of Veterans Affairs as an interagency fellow and later served as aide-de-camp to General Raymond T. Odierno, the 38th Chief of Staff of the U.S. Army. Later still, she became a special assistant to the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Along the way, she participated in operations in Bosnia, Iraq, and Afghanistan. Her service earned her numerous military decorations, including the Bronze Star Medal. In 2015, when asked how she felt about serving in the Army, she gave a simple but powerful answer: Serving in the military, she said, was her way of giving back to the country that had given her family a second chance. In 2020, she was promoted to the rank of colonel, a significant milestone in any military career. Then, in June 2023, history was quietly made. Colonel Con Diep was appointed Chief of Staff of the United States Military Academy at West Point. The daughter of Vietnamese refugees had become the first Vietnamese-American woman to hold that position. But beyond her military achievements, she remains deeply connected to her family and community. She is married to Army Colonel Chad R. Foster, who graduated from West Point 1 year before she did. Together, they have a son named Bryce. Despite busy schedules and demanding responsibilities, they work hard to balance family life with military service. And sometimes even serious military families share moments of laughter. Once, during a family outing, her husband attempted to speak Vietnamese. He tried to say, "Tôi muốn gin ha hang," meaning, "I want to go to a restaurant." But because of a small mistake in tone, he accidentally said something completely different, leaving the entire family stunned before bursting into laughter. After that moment, he decided Vietnamese might be too difficult.